What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to talk about old trucks versus new trucks. Which one should you buy? You know what? I can't tell you which one you want to buy. That's a very opinionated question. For me, I bought an older truck because of the price, and I like this truck, and I like the way it looks, and so on and so forth. What I bought was a 2008 Ford F450 King Ranch with the 6.4, and I got a great deal on it. And from what I was doing research on this 2008 versus a 2018, there's really not that much of a difference. The 450s, they still have the same rims, which are pretty cool. They're those aluminum Alcoas, but what I was looking for in a truck was a nicer interior truck, but with a good enough tow capacity, which I want to do, and it has a lot of amenity features that these new trucks have that it's just mind-boggling that the prices are so high. So, for example, I have a 2008 and I have power fold mirrors, power extended mirrors, power heated mirrors. I got the tailgate step in the back. I got cruise control. I have climate control in the steering wheel. I got touchscreen navigation. I got a DVD system, power sliding rear window, auto dimming mirror, all sorts of stuff. Auto controlled climates, heated seats, upfitter switches, controller, power pedals. I mean, all sorts of stuff. And the only thing that this truck didn't come with that like a 2018 will have is Bluetooth capability, connect to your phone, and backup camera. That's the two things that this truck doesn't have. And ventilated seats, but I'll get to the ventilated seats in a second. But that's the three things that this truck doesn't have compared to a new truck. So why would I go out and spend more than double on the truck for three items that this truck doesn't have? Bluetooth I fixed with a $7 part from Walmart. The backup camera, if you have a Garmin GPS, they actually sell backup cameras that pair with it, so that was $160. And then the ventilated seats, I've had them before. I had a 2011 Power Stroke 6.7 Lariat, and the ventilated seats weren't really that comfortable, which is kind of funny to say because, you know, they're supposed to be supreme comfort seats. But if you ever sit on perforated leather, it's like little pressure points everywhere. It's not nice and soft like this one. You know, it's a King Ranch, and it's got that nice thick red leather in it. And these seats are super comfortable, and they're true bucket seats. Like they're not connected anywhere, and it's just really comfortable seats. So with that perforated leather, you know, it starts hurting your ass after sitting for a while. I did a 13-hour road trip from Austin to Nashville, Tennessee, and about hour 7 it just felt my back was starting to hurt from the seat, not from like my seated position, but just like sitting on that leather. And I've done a 6-hour ride in this, which is not 13 obviously, and this seat was way more comfortable than the 2011 with the perforated leather. Now I have not sat in a new truck with not perforated leather, so I'm a little biased against perforated leather. I don't think it's that great, and plus when you get stuff in there, those fans aren't strong enough to blow the crap out, so now you got a bunch of shit stuck in your seat. Anyway, so that's one of the reasons why buying a newer truck doesn't really equate to more value of what you're getting. You're just getting a newer truck. I got lucky with my truck. I bought it with 62,000 miles and actually have an ESP warranty on it, which is nice. This engine blows up right now, I go to Ford, tell them what happened. If they justify that was right, then for $100 I get a brand new engine. You know, if you don't do that, or if I paid out of pocket, that'd be 17 grand. Hell, it's more than half what I paid for the truck. And it's a 6.4, so I might do that. Anyway, but there's really no appeal for me with these new trucks just to have, you know, Bluetooth and a backup camera, which I already have in this truck for less than $200. So that's something to consider. You're not buying more of a truck, you're just buying more, I guess, selling points. I feel like they're just selling points of a truck. They actually really don't add value to the truck. I bought a dually because I'm buying a fifth wheel camper in the summer, and I knew I needed that payload capacity to do that. Now, there's a difference between payload and towing, and I'll explain that in another video. It's quite simple. And like these new trucks have such high towing capacities, 35,000 plus pounds. That's ridiculous. I don't know what you're pulling that's 35,000 pounds plus. Maybe if you're a hot shotter, you're pulling bigger loads, but I don't know, that just seems like ridiculous. Like you just get a beat on the truck and just dramatically shorten the life of it, because that's a lot of weight on a truck. My truck's rated to 24,000 pounds. The campers that I've been looking at are like 14 to 16,000 pounds. Plus, I'm going to haul my motorcycle in it, which is another 1,000 pounds or 800 pounds. So there's no way I'm ever going to hit my towing capacity or even my payload capacity. I mean, rough numbers on my payload, that's only 3,000 pounds, and this truck has a 5,500 pound payload capacity. So I still got an extra 2,000 pounds of payload capacity. So that gap right there, 11 years has gone by, and they increased it by 11,000 pounds. Look at that, it's about 1,000 pounds a year. But I don't know if you really need all that payload and towing capacity for the average Joe. And I know with these newer trucks, they have all that newer emission system on it. They got DPFs, EGRs, and DEFs compared to me, which I just have a EGR DPF. And just because the DPF goes bad in my truck, I could just replace the DPF. The DPF is about $1,200, and yeah, that's a lot of money for a little canister to catch soot. But on these newer trucks, it's a whole system. So you can't just replace the DPF, you have to replace the whole entire system underneath. That's $4,000 to $5,000 if you buy the part and do the work yourself. I don't even know what they're going to charge at a dealership. I don't know, add another $4,000, $8,000 just to replace basically a fancy muffler. That's ridiculous. And now it's really hard to delete because the EPA cracked down on that quite hard in October of 2019. So it's getting real scarce on the market to find a delete on these diesels. I mean, that's just across the board. That's Ford, Dodge, Chevy, or Ram. So buying a newer truck doesn't essentially equate to more value. The truck does what a truck does. You drive it down the road and you pull stuff with it. Just because the truck's a 2018 or 2008, it does the same thing. And it's just really the main difference is the price and longevity. I don't think these newer trucks are going to last like the old diesels did. I mean, the old 12 valve Cummins, people get 1,000,000 miles out of them. Yeah, you can do that because the engine's detuned. Well, not detuned, but doesn't make a lot of power. It's not really stressing itself to do what it needs to do. It just likes to chug along. And these newer trucks, I don't feel like they chug along anymore. I feel like they're like a sprinter trying to run a marathon compared to a marathon running a marathon. These trucks are just made out of warranty. I feel like they're made to design to last, and then once they're out of warranty, they're done. And you see a lot of trucks on the market, like 160, 170,000 miles on them, and they're cooked. I've seen. You can find the videos yourselves, but I don't know. I don't think new trucks equate to better trucks. I think the prime era of trucks was like the 2007 to 2010. It was right around when the emissions control came about, so they're not super complex and they're easy to maintain, or easier to maintain. And the trucks themselves, they all had a big uplift on them. Dodge didn't really catch up to about 2011, but you could find a nice Ram with like a Lariat version if you really look for it. But Ford and Chevy in 2008, they really stepped up their game. They did the refacelift and they changed their interior up, and it's a really nice truck. And they're cheap now, and they're cheap to fix, and they're cheaper to maintain. Cheaper is the term. They're not cheap. Diesels are expensive. You think about buying a diesel, they're expensive. But for overall, what you're getting for that extra money is really not that much, in my opinion. Now, there's people out there that love buying new trucks and just like having the latest and greatest. There's nothing wrong with that. We need those people, so in 10 years when those trucks, they don't want them anymore, we get to buy them. And now we get to enjoy the lap of luxury of 10 years ago, which is totally fine by me. I just don't justify buying a new truck at this point in time, unless I win the lotto. And I'll probably just pay this one off. But overall, if you're going to buy a truck, really do the research on what you want that truck to do and what that truck has to offer. I mean, it's fun to look at these new trucks and just say, yeah, that's really cool. That'd be so cool to have. But then when you actually drive the truck, it's like, do I actually really use that feature? I mean, my dad has that lane assist on his, and he shuts it off because it's always annoying. It's not like he's drifting in and out lanes. It's just it doesn't like it when you're at certain spots. So he just turns it off. So there's a feature that he bought that he doesn't use. So my latest feature is called mirrors. Anyway, that's my rant on new trucks versus old trucks. Feel free to leave in the comments what you think, and if you think that buying an older truck is better than buying a new truck, or vice versa, buying a new truck is better than buying an old truck. Anyway, if you like this video, hit the like button, and feel free to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.